Hello and welcome back to Rockingham, where today our fast laps contender is the BMW 128ti. Now you might know this is a front wheel drive BMW with a track twist. It looks very quick on paper and I know it's fast on the road, but how quick is it against our stopwatch? Let's find out. So the 128ti, if you don't know, is £15 cheaper right now than the Golf GTI, its arch rival. This is a hot hatch from BMW with front wheel drive. Now that felt very weird only a couple of years ago when this car came out. BMW for many decades was all about the rear wheel drive with a bit of all wheel drive as well. But this car only powers its front wheels. It uses the same turbocharged 2-litre 4-cylinder engine as the M135i. The engine to BMW nerds is known as the B48. And in here, it has less power and less torque. It has 265 horsepower and 400 Newton meters of torque, which is still quite a lot. And despite only having front wheels with drive, compared to the M135i, which is all-wheel drive, it will still crack the 0 to 62 mile/hour sprint in 6.1 seconds. And BMW has to limit it to 155 miles per hour. So this is a quick car, and it's right on the money when it comes to front-wheel drive hot hatches. That Golf GTI, it's quicker than that. All right, it's not as quick as the champ from this class, the Honda Civic Type R, but that car's 10 grand more expensive. So this car doesn't need to be right up there, and it doesn't need to be quite as focused either, because this is trying to be an all-rounder. That said, this is the TI model. Now TI, you might know, or maybe you don't know, predates BMW's M Division badge. That's the proper motorsport badge that you get on the fully hairy-chested, red-blooded stuff. This, as a TI, which stands for Turismo Internazionale, I think that's right, which is sounding a bit Italian. But basically, it's a badge that's been put on sporty, but not necessarily top-end BMWs since the 60s, actually. And the last one to come out, the last one that made it to UK shores anyway, before this car, was an E46 compact model, which was pretty cool, actually. In bringing back the TI badge with a front-wheel drive car, it's allowed BMW to relax a bit and say, do you know what, let's just make this thing fun. So the engineers have made a few tweaks specifically to suit this front-wheel drive model, which, by the way, does share many parts, including that engine, with the Mini John Cooper Works, which we've also timed. So there's a link in our description and somewhere on screen now, you can see that video. And let's talk about the specs and things they've changed in this car. Firstly, the steering rack apparently is slightly slower, although the car still feels pretty quick to respond. I mean, it's definitely changing direction very nicely around Rockingham today. And then we've also got some tweaks to the suspension. The damping is firmer, it's stiffer, it's slightly tighter in its reactions with the springs, and the springs themselves as well. They are also a little bit firmer than the car would be set to if you were driving the M135i in its firmer setting. On top of that, we've also got a Torsen limited slip diff up front, and that is slightly softer, slightly less aggressive than the one in the M135i. And I think the reason behind that is so that it doesn't feel so grabby when you're on power. We'll test that when I go 10 tenths in a moment when I get my helmet on. But right now, it feels like it's working, but it's not working over time. I feel like it's doing a job, but it's not dominating the experience on the front axle. But what I can feel is that the rear end wants to play. It feels like it wants to rotate a bit. So let's come into this very tight hairpin at Rockingham. The last corner, the brakes are phenomenal, by the way. The discs are massive, they're 360mm up front. Let's get on the power. Good grip from the Michelins. We've got Pilot Sport 4s on here, wrapped around 18-inch wheels as well. Now you can get 19s on this car, but this car is fitted with a smaller wheel. Chuck her in, yeah, definitely has a neutral balance. I'm gonna turn off the ESC because I can just feel it starting to hold me back a bit. Right, the ESC is fully off. Let's see how it rotates into this bend. Brakes, turn. Yeah, there we go. It feels good, actually. And you know what? With the ESC off, actually, I felt that diff is working a bit better now. Rotation, ooh. It's not quite lifting the rear wheel, but I can feel that it... Okay, yeah, it does definitely rotate quite easily if you're going on a quite aggressively trailed brake. Yep, yeah, it does the rotation thing quite nicely. It's nothing like, for example, a Focus ST, which you turn in on the brakes and it just wants to go around on you. The Fiesta ST is even better at that. But then the diff up front is doing a good job. I can feel it just spinning the inside wheel. It's not quite biting in. as much as I'd like it to. So maybe I'd like a bit more locking, to be fair, but at least you can be in the right gear at all times, because this 8-speed auto gearbox, yeah, I'd much prefer a manual. Of course I would. I want to play around with the clutch pedal and really work the car myself, but this 8-speed is really good. Downshift, yeah, not instantaneous on the downshift, but very quick on the upshift. It's quick enough on the downshift. I mean, you can use engine braking, which is crucial on the circuit. I'll get my lid on. We'll get our stopwatch rolling. Where's it gonna sit on the leaderboard? Let's find out. Alright, with a Race Logic recorded 124.77, our 128ti was quick, but not as quick as all those other hot hatches we've timed recently. But I think that comes down to two key things. Firstly, the tyres. It's running Michelin Pilot Sport 4s. They're a great road tyre, but on track they do struggle a bit. And secondly, that Torsen limited slip diff is just not aggressive enough for me. I needed it to lock up a bit more on corner exits. So the car is quick in a straight line, the brakes are mega, and it's got really good stability, but it just couldn't get out the corners as aggressively and as powerfully as I hoped. Otherwise though, really, really fun car, and actually I think it's best suited to the road. On the road, it's really terrific. A real rival to that Golf GTI. BMW though, please come back and make something more extreme to take on the likes of the Golf GTI Club Sport, for example. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think I could have got a few more tenths out of it? Let us know in the comments below. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, click the thumbs up button and get subscribing if you haven't already. We'll be back at Rockingham very soon with more cars.